no idea. Sorry guys, I know some of you have joined. I'm still tweaking settings and putting descriptions in. So sorry for the extreme close-up. I'll sort it out shortly. Hi Deadly, nice to see you again. So I'll be with you in a sec. Apparently the output resolution is not optimal. I'm going to knock it down a little bit, see if that stops it from complaining. Well, it's not very happy. Deadly, is it breaking up or all? I don't know if I fully trust this app yet. Is everything alright? Alright, cheers mate. Your first one in, you're a bit keen today, aren't you? What have you been up to today? Turn the delay down, there shouldn't be. It should only be a couple of seconds now. Evening, Davey. No, Deadly, I just wondered if, you know, anyway, don't matter. Like you say. Yous all know crack if somebody says anything. So, I'm all set up. What you all been doing today? Awesome. Oh, it must be nice to have naught to do, mate. Must be. I've been non-stop since 7 o'clock this morning. Bloody workmen turned up to do the French doors. I was not best amused on a Saturday morning. Looking at chilli seeds. Is there anything in particular you're after, mate? I might have some spares. I might be able to save you some money. You're UK based, aren't you? Don't think I've ever asked you that. Can't see how many people are in the stream at the moment. It's disappeared off the screen. Not the spider, not the super hot ones. What have I got at the moment? I can't remember my Scoville scale. But I've got some jalapeno seeds. Which are spare. I've got some, where are they? They're here somewhere. Some of these, which are meant to be medium. The Zimbabwe Black. I actually grew one of these plants last year. Very pretty little plants. That is actually about the size of the flowers. They're actually quite nice. They're good cooking chilli, then. Not very good for making fermented sauces like I do, which is why I have no use for them. If we reach 500 subs in this stream, I'm going to do a seed giveaway anyway. I was hoping that my package had turned up from Grow Seeds by today, but it hasn't yet. Next time you're popping up to live, I'll sort you out. I haven't got the space for white stars, Davey, because they're a bit flighty, aren't they? I like something that's a bit sociable. As you've probably seen, I let them out, and I think white stars like to be a bit jumpy, don't they? From what I've read or what I've seen. Where's my there it is. That type, but not triffids. Well, a chilli will grow, Deadly, to the size of the pot that you put it in. I don't know if you've watched any of my videos from the end of last summer, but I put them in. I finished mine in 22 litre pots, roughly. Sorry, 22-inch pots, which work out to be about 25, 28 litres. And they grow to about 4 or 5 feet tall. You can grow chilies in hydro. You can. It's not something. It's something I might look at next year. I haven't really got the money to set up a hydroponic system this year. If you want to know about hydro, there's a gent on YouTube. I mentioned him in my shout outs of Christmas, called Chili Chump. Really awesome guy. Really awesome guy. I was actually, I don't know if his brother used it. His brother emailed me because I'd spoken to Sean, who is Chili Chump, quite a few times, and I was actually asked to be in a special birthday video for him. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Black rocks I don't know anything about, Davey. I don't know how flighty they are. I was looking at getting some of the standard brown. Ah, well, if you're a subscriber at Chump, you'll have seen his videos. His hydro system's brilliant, in my opinion. But it's just expensive. It's expensive to set up. Maybe if I get if I get a sponsor, then I'll do it. But as it stands, I just can't afford to do it. The nutrients and things. I'd love to do a full aquaponics system with you know, with the fish and everything, so it all feeds, so it becomes a little ecosystem. I don't know how feasible that is in that country though, with this weather. What's not? I'm lost there. Oh, let me just turn this bit rate down. It's having a right fit at me. I can't actually see anything because of that. Give me a sec. Sorry, it's probably going to go a bit weird. Have they started to sprout? Have the cam? I mean, chilies take longer than most anyway, but they do need they prefer anywhere between 21 to 25 degrees. Hopefully you guys can still see me. I'm not talking to myself. Turn that back down. Hang on. Yeah, they like a temperature of 21 to 25 degrees to germinate. Davey, the hottest I'm growing currently would be a chocolate variant of the Carolina Reaper. Chocolate just means it's brown in colour, as it's not a flavour profile or anything. It just means it's brown in colour. Apparently the brown ones are slightly more suited to our climate. I don't really understand why, but that's what I hear anyway, that the brown ones are slightly more accustomed to our climate. What date are we on, guys? Back end. Where do I buy my chocolate reaper seeds? My chocolate reaper seeds, they were actually gifted to me from a company, Dorset, is it Dorset Chilli Company? One of the chili groups I'm in. There's a fair few chili groups out there on YouTube, on Facebook rather. But the one that I found best was just Chili Growers. I think it's Chili Growers FB group. And I put a message in there saying, does anybody have any super hot seeds that are going begging? And a gent called, oh God, his name's completely left me. Andy, I think it was. Piped up and said, yeah, what do you want? I said, well, you know, send me anything you've got left over from last year. And he did. He sent me a fair few bits and pieces. You're down south, aren't you, Cam? Good evening, Aidan. Cam, are you down? You told me. I think you told me last night. You're down south, aren't you? Sure, you did. I'm telling my internet's going to. Ooh, have I still got some more broccoli left? No, I'm not going to put that in. Put some sprouts in. Well, I'm just looking for you now, Cam. I don't mind if I've got some. If I've got some left, I don't know if I have. Sticking some seeds in the post. I mean, if they get stopped by customs, no harm, no foul. I just don't know what I've got left. If you fancy. No. Not going to send any yet. My seed box is so messy now at the moment. But I'm just looking to see if I've got some super hot seeds left. I know I've got a big bag of something, but I can't remember what it was. I've got a feeling it's Dorset Naga. You've all gone quiet. Is everybody still out there? Oh, 8 people. That's a new record. That beats last night. Right, they're spare, although they're not germinating very well. They're spare. By the way, these things, now the silica gel packets that you get in your Amazon box and stuff like that, stick them in your seed tins. Helps keep a good environment for your seeds. Hello, London Worms and Garden, how are you? More silica gel. Look, more silica gel. Put them in your seed tins. Nuts and bolts randomly. London Worms and Gardens. Everybody head over and give him a sub. Cracking channel. If you're ever thinking about starting a wormery or anything like that, he's the man to ask. I'm saying I always miss them live, mate. Always miss them live. Always kick myself as well because it's such a great laugh. Come on, I know I've got some somewhere. Ooh, I didn't see that. Somebody was telling me that this one might have been one of you guys actually. Winter Imperial you can sow now. Doesn't say that on the back of the packet. I mean, I know we've to take a little bit that with a pinch of salt, but it says March to September to sow. I never really go earlier than the packet. Oh look, Cam. Look what I've just found. Do you want some, Cam? I am going to sow 4 more. Do you want what's left? I'll stick them in the post. If they get stopped by customs, they'll only get destroyed. What do you reckon? Is it worth a try? I'm mixing all my seeds up now. That's not good. I mean, I know it was a mess anyway, but... Cheers, Mike. Appreciate it. I've just said, hopefully, if during the stream I hit 500 subs, I'll do a seed giveaway. So I was hoping. That's what I was saying, wasn't it? Cam. Right. Oh, it's handy having Mike here actually. Mike, can you post a link to the Conversation Shed Facebook group in the description? I'm not able to do it on the app. Cam, if you can join the Facebook group, I'll send you a message, and yeah, I'll send you a message, and I'll get your address, and we'll stick them in post and see what happens. Might as well try for now, haven't we? So they're going to you. So let me just look. I'm organising everything. Yeah, it happens. It happens. I sent some to Canada. Was it Canada? Yeah, I did a chilli seed swap with a guy in Canada, and luckily they both arrived. But he was in British Canada. No, was he? Or was it French Canada? Canada? I don't know. But they arrived both ways. So it's Choco Reaper Seeds Gam. Not a problem. I don't mind that at all. Guys, if you've got YouTube pages, Facebook pages, please stick them in the comments, guys. I don't mind that at all. As I've said many times, we're building a community here. It's not about me. It's about all of us. So, feel free to advertise, please. And also the same goes in our Facebook group, in my Facebook group as well. Join it. Feel free to advertise. I do it in most of yours, so please feel free. Oh, this is annoying me now. I should have. There was a big bag of Dorset Naga seeds as well, and I can't find them. I don't know if you guys have watched my Sunday video where I discover my bag of sunset cauliflower seeds was absolutely wrecked. Marshalls have said that they're sending me out a replacement bag. We're nearly a week later and it's not turned up yet. I praised them for good customer services. I might have to redact that statement, because it's not looking very promising at the moment. They must be in this back compartment. The one place where I didn't think they were. Need to do another sowing of them. I wasn't going to do any chili seeds tonight. I might do. We'll see. We'll see. Cayennes. Ah, here they are. Cam, do you want any? So as you can see, I've got a fair few of these. I've had quite good. Well, this is who else was saying Deadly. If you want any of these seeds as well, mate, let me know, because they're all going spare. I've got some Devil's Horn pepper. They're just a sweet pepper. They're 50-50 germination, but if you want some of them, I've got some Padron. I've not had great germination with those. But some of my Sugar Rush peach seeds, I've had okay germination with those. And some jalapeno seeds. Let me know if you want anything. If you want some sending out, I don't mind at all. Well, provided like 50 of you don't send me something, then I'm, you know, it costs me a packet in stamps. Go, making a mess. Great solution for excess seeds not wanted. I don't know. Dear. That's exactly what I'm doing. Or exactly what I intend to do. But at the moment, as Rod and Pollux, I refer to him as Mike. Rod and Pollux will vouch for me sending out care packages of seeds and things like that. Apart from I won't give you all the random stuff that I send Mike. I think I sent him all sorts of crap last time, but it's a bit of a running joke we have. But he'll vouch. I'm happy. Life on the plot, sweet pepper seeds. Yeah, sure, no problem. Join that Facebook group. Put a post in there or remind me, because I will forget, even though I'm making notes. See, I've already lost my pen. There it is. Not sure how these sweet red peppers are. Because they're harvested from a Tesco pepper. So, but, you know, you've got to try these things, haven't you? Long red pepper knife on the plot. No problem. So join that Facebook group. Just send me a message to remind me. I'm almost guaranteed to forget. Right. Well, I need to get to some planting. I'm going to sow some of these later. These are, I don't know if like me, if any of you chili heads out there, you haven't seen what's down here under Worms and Garden. No. But if you ever get a pizza from certain takeaways, but most prominently Papa John's does it, they put a chili pepper in the takeaway in the pizza box. It's a brined pepper. If you're ever wondering, because it took me ages to dig up what pepper it was, it's that one, pepperoncini. It's a Greek in origin, and then adopted by the Italians. Makes an excellent brining pepper. And it's you just brine it, and honestly, I can sit and eat them by the handful. They're gorgeous. They're not hot. They're just full of taste, full of flavour, full of a little bit of spice. But they're so nice. They're so nice. But honestly, I started organising for this live stream at 6 o'clock this evening. It took me an hour and a half to get things ready, so I'm not that organised. Cam, that's what we're here for, mate. That's what we're here for. And I loved, you know, I don't know everything. I genuinely don't. But between a community of people, we can't go wrong, can we? We can't, you know, somebody out there. I was hoping sort of Aaron and a few others would join tonight, because Aaron really knows his stuff when it comes to. He's more professional horticulture, so trees, flowers, plants, things like that. He really knows his stuff. He was the one that convinced me to do the apple tree pruning video, which, whilst not one of my most popular videos, I do feel it is one of my best in terms of information. The information it portrays is really, really good. And we'll talk about a few things that sort of your average allotmenter doesn't talk about, because the information was given to me. I mean, Aaron spent hours talking me through things. And I think I'm hoping anyway, he's joining the channel at some point in the new year. And he's hopefully then next year, he's going to do the videos with regards to looking after your trees, your winter prep and things like that. And hopefully a bit of inside information on, for any of you guys out there that use chemicals and things like that, or don't mind using chemicals, hopefully he's going to have a bit of inside information coming from it being in the trade. So hopefully. Anyway, I'm not getting any seeds in, I'm just talking, so I'm going to talk and plant. So I'm going to throw some sprouts in whilst we're talking. It's a little bit early. The season's finished, because sprouts always taste better after a frost. But provided they don't get rocked and they don't blow, they're usually actually pretty damn happy just to sit on the stalk. But these are Doric F1, they're a coated seed. I'm going to try and show you these, because I think it's a great idea. These ones are from Chase Garden Seeds. I think this is Dobby's. Pretty sure this is Dobby's, but they're a coated seed. Problem with having gloves on is that, of course, if I hold my hand out flat, everything rolls off. I know. I'll be planting all of them. I'll open up the packets. They are, mate. They are. You're right. What's in the I was going to have a drink tonight, I'll be honest. I was feeling a bit of rum, but after the day I've had, I just needed an energy drink. Now, I've already told a few people about this company. I'm not into plugging them, but it is something that I like. I like the idea of. If you like your energy drinks, or you like the idea of your energy drinks, but you're put off by the sheer amount of sugar, that company, Sneak, they make it in a powder. I dilute it to half strength, but it's sugar-free, well, as natural as, you know, an energy drink can get. But it's sugar-free. Check them out. I've got a referral code which I think gets you some money off if you're interested. Let's see. Oh no, I'm probably not going to plant all these seeds. Drinking, I'll start drinking. If I start drinking, you'll end up asleep. Yeah, London Worms and Gardens. Do you not find though? I don't want to name any names, but with some of the bigger channels, that their egos aren't left at the door. There's somebody in particular who's been posting a lot of videos claiming that people are stealing his content. Well, let's be honest, there isn't much in the way of unique ideas out there anymore. You know, there's nothing that new anymore. So I don't know how well this is going to show up, but I think this is a great idea. They're a coated seed. In fact, I can't even get them to show up. But these are Brussels sprouts. Normally they would be absolutely tiny, but they're coated in a little, yeah, I know you know what I'm on about. A, to make them stand up a bit, or stand out a bit. But B, I believe the coating is something beneficial to help them germinate. But yeah, I find with the bigger YouTubers, that they don't keep their egos in check. They seem to think that they are the be all and end all, which is why I'm trying to sort of build a community of the smaller guys like us. I'm trying to get competition left at the door, because it's not about that. Yeah, 4 seeds in one module. That's not good. Just sort that out. I'm going to end up planting all these. It's a good job my daughter Charlotte likes Brussels sprouts, don't you, Charlie?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, are you going to get your butt into bed, girl?
Okay.
Do you want to come say hi to everybody before you go, or are you feeling shy today? You're going to say hi? Come round this way then.
Okay.
Very harmless. The biggest lesson I learned is don't handle the seeds with bare hands. Yes, I've done that. Charlotte, this is Charlotte, my oldest. You'll have seen her on some of the videos.
And my youngest, Rosa.
Rosa, yes, you will have seen the youngest as well. She's in bed. She should be in bed. Can you check, make sure she's in bed?
Okay.
But she's going to bed now, aren't you, sweetheart?
Yeah.
No night, love you.
No, I will see you in the morning.
See you in the morning. Yeah, we've all made that mistake, London Worms and Gardens. We've all made it once. Or in some people's cases twice, but some people... Darwinism should take effect. Where's that? There it is. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Don't worry, guys. He's not done it again this year. He hasn't got any seeds. Although you should still have some sugar rush left. Oh, no, you didn't. Did you ever plant them sugar rush? I don't think you did you? You should try them this year. Or send them back to me. Or offer them out for somebody else. How many we got in? 7. Who we got? Come on, guys, speak up. I know we've got Cam, Mike, London Worms and Gardens. Who else we got? Davey, you're still here, I think. Where's that one that I dropped 4 into? No. Oh well. I don't know if any of you were into sea fishing, but Rod and Pollux is a good channel to follow. They're, would I say they're fishermen or comedians or commissurans? That's one else. He's a Doric. And that is all of them. And since I don't have any more seed sowing compost, I shall have to cover them up with miniculite. It's going to be one of those nights tonight, isn't it? I'm not going to be able to speak. So let me just, I know, I've no space left, I started too many too soon. What have you got in, mate? What have you planted? I know I missed a message from Deadly. I'm sure I did. No, I missed one from Davey. No, I didn't. I responded to that. I thought I missed a message from Deadly. It doesn't look like I did. Oh, burn. But, Davey, hey, Mike knows this. It's a bit cold at the moment. Yeah, what did you put in, London Worms and Gats? I don't think I've ever caught your name on any videos. I don't know if it's something you want to keep to yourself. Some people do.
Dad.
Yes?
Can I sleep on my sofa bed since it's still out?
Yeah, of course you can. It's warm enough, so... The only time I said no was when it was cold and you were poorly.
Okay.
Dee, dee. Does it hurt that, does it, Mike? Is it still a bit of an open wound, that one, is it? Don't be sorry, I'm not. Deling, I don't know what that deling means. I don't know what that deling means. My phone just vibrated and everything went deling. Parsnip. See, I was toying earlier with getting some parsnip seeds. Radish. No, I don't grow them. I tend to find the homegrown radish too peppery for the kids. Lettuce I've got in. Spinach. Yeah, I'm a bit behind on that. When you're planting spinach, do you broadcast sow it? Just sprinkle some on some compost. Snapdragons, I don't do. Flowers, chilies, peppers, basil. Yeah, I need you to do a video on how to grow basil. I just can't grow it for toffee. That sounds like South Africa. What else have you got in? Now I want to get on with stuff. Well, I don't think you've sown anything too early there. But, yeah. But say, what variety is it? A particular type of variety for this time of year that you're planting? Or is it just parsnips in general? Can they go in now? I've not grown them, you see, because the kids won't eat them. But I decided that me and bugger them, and that me and the partner are going to put some in for me and her. Yeah, I need help with basil. I kill basil every year. I kill it. Without doubt. These things as well, I don't know if you guys can get them over there in the States, these bottle toppers are amazing. Couple of quid, and they're just bob on for sowing your seeds. Because you've got total control. Spinach. You do spinach in pots? What, a big pot? Because I was led to believe you just sow it as sort of a blanket. When did you sow them? The ones that didn't germinate? Because if you get them somewhere warm, they might still germinate. What else was I going to put in this tray? Some more broccoli. No, the green calabrese. No, the purple sprouting. I'm going to put some carrots in the polytunnel at the weekend. Anybody think that's too early? Oh, that's what else I was going to sow, some Romanesco cauliflowers. Broccoli. Yeah, seriously, if it was less than 2 weeks and they've not come up, if you get them somewhere warm, they'll probably come up. But bear in mind, while they're germinating, they don't need light. I know a lot of people use their airing cupboards to germinate seeds. Try and get in your next video a picture of your spinach pots. I'm intrigued about that, as to how you sowed them, will you? Start off with spinach like. I thought of doing it that way. I always thought it was. I don't know. I was kind of the opinion it kind of grows like cress and you only have a couple of leaves off each plant. Well, not a couple of leaves, but. Well, this is not working. See, collective minds, mate. Collective minds. Seems obvious to somebody, but sometimes you can look at a problem too hard and completely miss a solution, can't you? That's why I like being part of a group as opposed to sitting there and trying to figure things out on my own. Let's put all those in. Yeah. Shall I do 4 spinach? Shall I do 4 cauliflower? The Romanesco type, the one that makes everybody's eyes go funny. Shall I do 4 of them? Can't decide. I normally do, Dave. Did you see me pick it up off the radiator? Deadly, I'm going to do mycore. I'm going to experiment with mycore next year, purely and simply because of how expensive it is. I know you don't use much, but if you were more local, I'd do you a direct swap, mate. See, I find alliums really easy to germinate, but like onions from seed, I mean, my leeks I actually did okay with, but I think it's just picking a variety. I think go for an easy variety with your leeks. Musselburgh, if you haven't tried it, although I think I saw in one of your videos last year you have, I think. What have I just planted? Broccoli, purple sprouting. See, I'd do a video on leeks, but I honestly don't know. But I honestly don't know if I do any. I don't do anything special. I just throw them down on some compost. I really do. The only thing with my onion seeds is I take the time to sow them because I can never be bothered to prick plants out. I always take, as well, I don't know, you can't see, but in fact, I'll angle you down a bit more. No. Yeah. I take the time to individually sow so that I don't have to prick things out later. It's just a preference. And then the only reason I'm using vermiculite over the top is because I've not got any more seed sowing compost. So I'm just sprinkling using vermiculite on the top of my seeds this year. Muscle bro. Where could you? I don't know. I honestly don't know. All I do is I get a tray. I don't even, for leeks, I don't individually sow. I get a tray, put some multi-purpose in. I always use multi-purpose for my leeks. And just sprinkle them on. Hiya Mary. Glad you're with us. Cam, I must have missed something. More veggies. What do you mean more veggies? No, I've not seen anything from you for a while. So I don't know if I've not been ignoring you. I've just not seen any of your messages out coming up on my screen. Where are you, Mary? Doing aubergines. I'm assuming you're British because you're calling them aubergines. You're not one of these silly Texans, Cam, that calls them eggplants. Sorry, I like to abuse people, Cam. That's what, in actual fact, that's what I'm going to be doing with some of my chilies. Some of them need potting up. So I'm going to be potting some of them up next. Skem? As in Skelmersdale, Skelmersthorpe. I used to be down your neck of the woods. I'm not anymore. Obviously. Well, I'll say obviously. Also, don't go through any great lengths to hide my location. No. It appears I was sowing more seeds than I realised. Well, I'll prick them out. I'll nip off the ones that I don't want. Yeah, Skelmersdale. Oh, remind me, what's that near to? Is that in, Skelmersdale? Is that near? It's not Telford Way, is it? I had a pub near Skelmersdale, and it's going to annoy me now. I say near Skelmersdale. To me, at that point in my life, near somewhere was, oh, it's showing up on the road signs. So it could, I could have been 20, 30 miles away. Used to do a lot of mileage back in them days. Just yes, that's of course. I had 3 pubs in Wigan. 3 I did in Wigan. Swan with 2 necks, the Old Engine, might have just been 2. I had the Old Engine, which was near the Heinz factory, and the Swan with 2 necks, which was just up from the Big Asda in Wigan. I'm saying like you'll know, I have no idea. guys, just to reiterate to the new joiners, I know there's not loads of you out there. If you've got a YouTube channel, Sean with two no, well, there's a Swan with two necks in Wigan Town Centre as well. Or there was when I was there. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 years ago. Rose pots. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. See, all I tend to do, mate, is I'll put them in a tray and then I'll prick them out. Once they're about pencil lead thick, I'll prick them out, and generally at that point they go straight in their final position. Generally. These root trainers, I know I've said this before in a couple of videos, these root trainers, by the way, are great. The only drawback is they're deceptive how much water they need. And compost. But they'll quite easily swallow up half this bottle. Actually, London Worms and Gardens. And they come up better with, yes, that's what I'm finding with vermiculite. What was I going to say? Uralium seeds. The only thing I do differently, maybe, is I plant all mine, or I water everything with rainwater. I don't use tap water. I can't here, it's got too much chlorine in it. But I don't use tap water for anything seed related. And then, depending on how the summer goes, for anything at all, really. If I can save enough rainwater, I will use rainwater. So that you know, it could be that's the difference. I don't know until you reply. Give this a little wipe out. Actually, it's a bit dirty from being used as a stand. I still get that green algae though, that green moss, even with vermiculite, especially in my grow tent, but that's because it's humid in there. In fact, I need to start putting the fan on more in there. These root trainers, they're great for brassicas and they're great for broad beans, and probably leeks if you can be bothered to sow them. For your seeds, I swear by it, for rainwater. If you've got to use tap water, bottle it, leave the cap off and let it air for a good day or two. I found that also makes a hell of a difference. Right, I'm going to be right back. I'm just going to put this seed tray out of the way and then I'm going to get on with potting up the chilies. Oh. Where is it? Oh. Mick, if you're still there, you're on. been a long day. See what this actually tastes like. Ooh. That's quite nice. I thought Thames water was quite hard. So that could be your problem, because that's my problem here. I'm on Hull. What's the reservoir that I get the water comes from here? I'd like to say the estuary, but it's not. Anyway, yeah, we find that the water here is really, really hard. So no, but that is good to know, because aluminium welding is a skill. Because aluminium doesn't like to weld like stainless steel, if I remember rightly. If I remember my metallurgy correctly. Right. Mick, Rod and Pollock's Mick used to work on the bar. It was Mick that I used to come up to see. Yes, it sounds like very similar to the problems I have here, London Worms and Gardens. So rainwater, give it a try, see what happens. And also allium are actually than you think. And that, I've just gone ahead and done it, but that's how I pot up my chilies. Now some of them, like these jalapenos that are looking really, really sorry for themselves, I will pot, provided the pot's actually deep enough, I'll go as far up the stem as I possibly can. I don't know if they're worth doing, so I'm going to save them till last. But I will come up as far on the stem as I can, because these are a member of the nightshade family, same as tomatoes. What the nightshade family has a brilliant knack of doing is all the hairs on the stem, on chilies you can't really see them, but they are there, have the capability of becoming roots. So when it comes to your peppers, if they're not little short stout things like that, I mean, that is, to say that was sown on the 4th of December, a very good example of a non-leggy chilli. Whereas these are examples of very leggy chilies. They were all sown at the same time, so I don't quite know why these have done it and these haven't. But yes, because they're members of the nightshade family, I mean, don't go above the, is it cottle leaves or something like that? The seed leaves. Don't go above the height of the seed leaves, because you get no joy and you run the risk of damping off. But below there, it has, same as with your tomatoes, it has the capability of sending out more shoots. That'd work deadly. But all I've got is one of the slimline water butts for my seeds. And that's plenty for my seedlings. I say it tends to struggle in summer, but what I'll do in summer is I'll fill it up with the hose when it's about half empty. That way it has plenty of time to aerate and all the chlorine and, you know, filler crap that shouldn't really be in your drinking water, in my opinion. Gives it time to filter off, evaporate, whatever. Gives it time to leave, basically. But boiling the water, I think boiling the water though, Dave, does that not have an effect on the minerals? It takes out some of the heavy minerals that your plants want. Come on, come out. Normally I dry my seedlings out for a couple of days, but these are still quite wet. The foul, I've not even filled the pot up. Quite happy with how firm they're pressed in. And I'll be going round, I think I've forgotten it, I think I've left it down on the plot. I'll be going round, probably not this time round, but certainly, I'm just going to put some more compost in the top of this one. When they go into their bigger pots, I will actually gravel on the top to help stop. There's a fly, not too dissimilar to the little annoying bloody fruit flies, but to try and stop that being as prolific. Aphids, I've got that down. I use neem oil for that, which I must have actually, oh no, there it is. This stuff, it absolutely stinks. But what it does, make sure you're getting the cold pressed 100% neem oil. And what it does is it stops them from breeding and sterilises or dries out any of the existing eggs. And literally just a couple of drops of that with a couple of drops of dish soap in a spray bottle, and it's like aphids be gone. They'll be, you know, dried up, gone, dead, buried before you know it. Fill the pot first this time. Don't blame me if it all goes really wrong, but these things you've got to try them, haven't you? See, this is what I like about the community. You know, somebody's come to us and said, oh, I struggle with this. And we've thrown some ideas out and it's got some new things to try. This is what I like. This is why I do it. It must have what must the neem oil? I don't know. It's just a completely natural. It's from a nut, I think, oil. So in actual fact, you can say it's organic, but apparently, no, that's the wrong thing. Apparently, it's illegal to say you're using it as a insecticide. Don't know why. Somebody told me that once in one of the more snooty Facebook allotment groups. Is that what you're trying to spell? Pure as a... yeah, that stuff. Indica, I know that. Seed oil. But yeah, I ended up with 2 bottles of this accidentally. And I don't think I've not used a quarter of a bottle in a whole year. Mary, you've gone quiet. What's up, lass? You still there? Do I think you'll be safe putting a polytunnel up? No. Well, right, let me ask you this, Mary. Do you need to get it up? Do you have to fill raised beds now? Or do you have, you know, have you got a need to put it up? Because I think, and it's nothing to do with the polytunnel, the quality of polytunnel, you might have bought a really good one from first tunnels or something like that, or it might be a cheap one off eBay like I have, or you might be building one. Oh no, I think I've just killed one. Yeah, that one's not going to do very well. We'll pot it on and see what happens. I tell you, the reason I say, do you have a need? It's exactly that. It's the weather. The last couple of years we've had the really bad storms, the really bad winds, and that'd be the only thing I'd be taking into consideration. Apart from if it's one of these sort of the expensive, decent ones from First Direct and things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm one of those people with a £200 one off eBay. So I'm not being snotty, but lost my train of thought now. But if it's one of the more expensive ones, you could put the metalwork up now. You run the risk. I'm going to water this one in. You run the risk of, or you need the warm weather. Sorry, to pull the plastic type. All right, Josh, mate. All right, cheers. Nice to see you again. Right, okay. See my first question, Mary. Do you have a need, not a want, but a need to put this polytunnel up now? Do you have to build the raised beds in it like I did, or you know, do you have something? Do you need to fill the space, or? Because if you don't need to, I wouldn't. If it was me. Those ones off eBay, the green plastic ones, they're great, but I have seen a lot of them destroyed by wind, and you know, I'd hate for that. I'd hate to say yes, you're fine to put it up, and then for it to be cursing me. There it is. Because the wind does it in or something like that. I would wait until you're ready for it, until you need it. Get your trenches ready, and as somebody said, who was it? I think it was Deadly, wasn't it? Or it was either Deadly or Cam. So put the framework up. You can put the framework up, but I would refrain from putting it up if you can, until we know that the winds, or we're not going to get a heavy storm. Thomas, it's been wonderful chatting with you, mate. Am I sending you? I'm not sending you any seeds. Let me know how you get on with the leeks, and please do that basil video. I would love to see that. I would. You couldn't put seedlings in a polytunnel yet anyway, Mary. Polytunnels are great. They warm up quickly, but they cool off very quickly. That's the difference between a polytunnel and a greenhouse. Is that a polytunnel warms up really quickly once the sun hits it, but it cools down really quickly as soon as the sun's gone off, so you won't get a consistent temperature for your seeds to germinate. So hopefully I've helped you out there. Use a single bed divan bottoms. I've placed them around there. What do you mean? You've used them and filled them with soil as raised beds, or are you using them as sort of a fence or a windbreak? I don't follow entirely what you're meaning there. I keep putting that back, and that's not what I mean to do. Right. Here's how I'm organising these seeds, because I'm too tight to buy a load of seed labels. I've got me handy dandy little jotter and my handy dandy pen that I keep losing. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to label all these with a chalk pen. Number 1 is going to be Dorset Naga. That's all I'm doing. So then I'll be able to refer back to this book, and if I've done it again, I've put my pen down and now I can't find it. Did anybody see where I put that chalk pen? Got it. And all I'll do then is I've got some glue roll down here. Wipe off the side of the pot a little bit. There, labelled. I like that idea, Mary. I like that idea. There'll be a good size as well, won't there? Because the important thing about when you're building a raised bed is that you're able to, from one side, to be able to at least reach to the middle. So a divan bed's actually, yeah, it's going to be a really good size. That's a good idea, and I'm all for recycling. I'm all for that. We love a bit of recycling. I wish you could put music on. I wish YouTube worked that hard. I wish there wasn't such a thing as bloody copywriting, and I wish you could put music on. Oh well. Ooh, don't want a pot full of vermiculite. Ah, there's the pot that I'm missing. Already, here's one I filled earlier. What we're going to do next? We'll do the chocolate reaper next. Let's go from sort of hottest to small to less hottest. So what's everybody's plans? Is anybody down on the allotment tomorrow? Oh God, a royalty-free... Mate, that'd be painful. The royalty-free music's alright, but I couldn't listen to it sociably. Imagine going to a nightclub and they're using the royalty-free playlist because they're not willing to pay for the PRS licence. That'd be horrendous. I hope you've got your links in the comments below, by the way, guys, you YouTubers. Get your links to your channels in the comments below. I don't care whether you've got 1 video, 10 videos or 100 videos. I don't care whether you've got 10 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers. Get those links down below. Caring is sharing. Unless you've got herpes. Now I've got these chocolate reapers out. They're not as strong as I thought they were. Although I'm finding air gaps in the bottom of my trays. I didn't fill them as well as I thought I had. Whoops. We can't get there. Oh, can you not? Oh, right. Can you not get to comments until the end of the stream? No, it was doing that to me yesterday. And some people it's lets on and some people it doesn't. Yeah. No, in fact, it did it to me yesterday because I was trying to put comments on. And I refreshed my page and it came back. Same as you were saying about... people saying it going out of sync and saying to refresh the page. said, as Mike quite rightly pointed out to me the other day, you do to stream properly on YouTube, you are supposed to have 1,000 subscribers now, which I think is really, really silly. I think it's crazy, but they do it every Christmas. They increase the cap because obviously you get a load of new kids with the capability of asking for the capability to stream, and yeah, YouTube just don't want it. I think it's just too much traffic. So yeah, it is what it is. Oh, that one, where's the plant gone? There it is. This isn't going that well. Well, some of them aren't. Some of them are really still a little bit too small, but they're not going to grow on. See, what's happened here is we've got this one, which is one of these super hots. The seed is stuck on the leaves. And depending on who you speak to, some people will say to take it off, and some people will say to leave it on. Last year, I took it off. This year, I'm going to leave it on. And we'll see what happens, eh? Cam, Mary, we've got a few people in here now. I could do with some help. What would you like me to cover in a bite size? Because I've kind of stopped doing the bite sizes temporarily because I'm kind of out of inspiration for them. I didn't really want to start delving too much into the pests side of things, the pests and problems side of things, too early. But they were kind of really good videos, so I don't know. Let me know what you think. Next week's video is next Wednesday's video. There isn't a video coming out tomorrow. Next Wednesday's video is going to be, I didn't label those, did I? Number 2 is chocolate reapers. Next Wednesday's video is potting some blueberry bushes and caring for blueberry bushes. So be sure to check that one out. Pull these out and relabel them. In fact, I didn't label all of the other ones. I think I labelled one and showed you guys and didn't label the rest, did I? Yeah. You know, it's like bloody Chuckle Brothers, isn't it? Bodge it and leg it, eh? So go back. Is everybody getting down on their allotments this weekend, or is everybody having a weekend off, or is everybody ahead of things? What's everybody's plans for tomorrow? Seems at least near me it's supposed to be dry, not warm but dry. Do you just grow at home then, Deadly? I need to label them. Go down to his allotment, Dave. Now he knows you're fishing. He's got a freezer full of bait to use up. Yeah, please do, Mary. Please do. I was going to get in on that RSPB Birdwatch. Mary, find us on Facebook. Share there as well, please. I'm 6'2". I'm a big lad. You put binoculars on me and I just look like a... Well, I don't suppose you're supposed to use binoculars really, are you? Because it's what you're supposed to be able to see from your back garden. But anyway, you know what I'm getting at. I look like a bit of a... someone who shouldn't be out on the streets. Let me just... give me a sec. I have 5 raised beds. The allotment tomorrow doing the RSPCB Birdwatch. An arch. 3 gardens to grow, only one big enough for beds. Now you understand why size of plants. Yes, Deadly, we were talking about that earlier, wasn't it? A chilli plant will grow to the size of the pot. So if you put a chilli plant in a 5 or an 8 litre pot, you'll tend to find that the plant will stay quite squat at about 2 to 3 feet if you weren't doing hydroponics. And I mean, you can even, if you look at Fatali seeds, you can even train a chili plant to be a bonsai. It's a technique called, it's a hobby called bonsai. Check it out. It's really cool, and you can pretty much do it with any variety, I'm led to believe. You show him how to do it, Davey, yeah? I thought it was short, but I've got another tray over there. I'm going to be at this all night if I don't stop talking. Chili Grove Greenhouse Sensations. Right, I labelled all those. So number 3 is going to be chocolate maruga. Chili Grow Greenhouse Sensations. Do you mean something to do with Greenhouse Sensations, the website? Don't encourage him, Davey. Next he'll have the coronavirus. Closest thing he gets to a Chinese is a dog takeaway from down the road. The name of the group, Mary, is just Conversation Shed. If you go onto any of the other videos, it's on there. But just Conversation Shed on Facebook. I'm not that creative. I don't have different names. There is a link, but not everybody can see the comments until the video closes, Mike, so I forgot about that. So it's one of the drawbacks of loopholes in YouTube's system. Not everything works as it should. What have I just... I'm losing it. Right, move them pots out of the way. That guy comes up here. I'm surprised these are looking quite healthy and I don't think I've killed anything yet. There's always some fatalities when I'm potting on. Until they get to a more handleable size. Surprised Sasha hasn't come to say hello yet. So we're all down on his gardens tomorrow, hopefully. You still do get pot called Corona, they just tried to pass it off as an alcoholic beverage. Looks like people are starting to peter off a bit now. I suppose it is getting late for a Saturday night. I probably should have said this sooner, guys, but the announcement that I had is I've got at least one sponsorship coming up. It's not really a sponsorship. I've been sent some seeds for sort of a company review by a company called Grow Seed. Now they don't do all the extravagant seeds that that some of the companies do. What they do is I like their ethos. They only sell seeds for plants they know, and they breed their own seeds. They're not bought in from elsewhere and things like that. They're all grown by them, perpetuated by them. So they do get new strains of seeds as and when they have perpetuated a new thing and they've learnt about it. And what I have secured for you guys, on top of some stuff for a giveaway, or well, at least some seeds for a giveaway, what I have secured for you guys is a discount code. Now this will be labelled on upcoming videos, but if you want to get in early, if you want to get some seeds, go to Grow Seed. Yeah, it's just growseed.co.uk, and at checkout use the discount code ConvoShed for 5. I think they've done 5% off the gross total of your basket. He was going to do 5% and free shipping. I'm not sure if that's what he's actually done, but it's 5% off anything. So it's not just seeds or plants, it's anything from their website, 5% off. And that's not a limited time code at the moment. There is no closing date. It's not a get in there now. It's a permanent code for the time being. Not for new customers, it's for new and returning customers. Anybody can use it. You can use it multiple times. So please head on over to growseed.co.uk. Check out their inventory. If there's something you want to get, remember, use code ConvoShed at checkout for 5% off the total value of your basket. Tondo. Right, let me, sorry, I was concentrating on potting up there a minute. Let me just go back over the comments a sec. coronavirus heart. Yeah, that's Mary had a nuthatch in my allotment last year. They are rare. Oh, I'm guessing that's a bird. Not sure I've got any nut trees, but did produce peaches last year. Peaches in this country, impressive. Very impressive. They didn't germinate. Oh, it's never ending tonight. I'm looking rather sorry for yourself. So here we've got some examples of what I will be potting off. We've got a couple of examples of an issue called damping off as well, which was because the grow tent got really humid. So I'll show you some of these as I've emptied the cells out a little bit. So I'll do these cayenne first. That's these 2 rows. I've got, along the back of my allotment, I've got cob nut trees, and then I planted for coppicing for canes, something of the same genus, a hazelnut tree, which I'm going to coppice and grow for canes. Hey Sam, I'm assuming it's a flying visit, so hey Sam, bye Sam. Nice to see you, hope you're having fun tonight, mate. Whatever it is you're doing, I hope you're having fun. Stay safe, don't do anything I wouldn't, that's a short list. Stay safe. Yeah, hazelnut tree for coppicing. Cam, have fun at work, mate, and I'll talk to you again. Like I said, find us on YouTube. Wing me your address. Might as well try and get some seeds out to you. What are you up to tonight then, Sam? Why are you on a flyer? Cobnut and hazel are very closely related, but they're not exactly the same. It's kind of, what's a good analogy? Conkers and horse chestnuts. Although, I appreciate you can't eat conkers, but that's as good as an analogy as I can come up with at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. What's just suicided out? I wasn't going to plant that one anyway. Come on, you pig. There we go. Right, this one's going deep. That is true, especially true in the case of mushrooms. I'm intrigued as to what Sam's up to tonight. Oh, you're still on the plot? Bravo, bravo. That is some dedication right there. That is some dedication. I bet it's a bit cold. But I applaud your dedication, my friend. That is impressive. I hope you've had a fire going to keep warm. Do you two, does Sam and Deadly know each other, do you? So that's a little bit weird if Deadly knows that you're cleaning your greenhouse. Well, that's not weird, but... no, that one has actually rotted off. What have we got? Sigalia picante. Right, I'm going to take this cayenne out. I'm finding what problem you had, Mike, last year with cayennes. They're very, very fickle. I'm going to have to clean this floor tomorrow, otherwise Missus is going to kill me when she gets in from work. So out of 8 cayenne planted, I've had 2 survivors. Well, these things happen. Right, just quickly for you chili growers out there. That, if you can see it, well, actually for any grower out there, is what happens when damping off occurs. You see how the growing tip has completely just fallen off. And that's because the soil in the area was too humid. And it's a problem I have with overwatering. It's just my own mentality. Say I've discovered when I've started putting these guys on that they are far too wet. You can see even the green moss has started to appear. But yeah, and these Sigalia picantes, when I did my chili reveal, one's come up. I believe, Davey, that was something that was very widely believed and used for good reason. Really, they didn't need to be rotated. Now is a different story. Now you've got things that now you've got problems that have come across from other countries, like allium leaf miner, that lives in the soil. And what's the one that I did the video on last year? The allium white rot also lives in the soil, and these things have kind of only become prevalent over here in the last. Oh god, this one's messy. Let's see if we can take a bit of this compost. There we go. Last 5 or 6 years, really. So yes, it was certainly something that was true. However, unfortunately, for a few different reasons, is now onions are now a crop that, if not need to be rotated the same as everything else, need to be rotated more so than others. I must admit I'm a little bit lax with my rotation, but you know, we all have our vices. But it's certainly this day and age, you definitely need to be rotating your onions. There's too many soil-borne fungus and diseases for onions now that weren't prevalent 10 years ago. Right, when it comes to seeds, a little knowledge. There's rules of thumb, which I'll talk about in a minute. But there's a little knowledge goes a long way. Now, a chili. Now listen, quietly, children. A chili is designed to be, for the very reason we like eating it, is the very reason it is how it is, and despite that is, of course, the spiciness of a chili. But the reason a chili became spicy is because birds can't taste spice. Believe it or believe it not, birds can't taste spice. So the reason it became spicy was so that birds would spread the seeds and nothing else would. So you think about, well, don't think about it too much, but think about the life then of that seed as it passes through the bird and then is cracked out. It then lands on the ground in a pile of bird poo, which is only, for the most part, a couple of millimetres thick. So that is how deep you sow your seeds. Now this year, you weren't here, were you? But this year I sowed my seeds in these seed trays and I filled them to the very top with compost. I then placed the seed on top of the compost and then just sprinkled the top with vermiculite. I didn't put the seed into the compost at all. And that has yielded a far superior, especially on the super hots, a far superior germination rate than it did last year where I put the seeds in. But a general rule of thumb that you can apply to all seeds is a seed goes twice the depth of the thickness of the seed. And I don't have any large seeds to hand to show you on camera. But this is a bad example really. But let's say this is your seed. Okay? That's your seed. So this would go, if that's, now if it's really difficult to show on camera. If my finger was the soil level, so the seed would go in and then it would go in its own depth again. So it's roughly about, it's sitting one full seed depth below the soil. That's your general rule of thumb. But for chilies, tomatoes and my brassicas, I'm having much better results with, and when I say a sprinkling of vermiculite, I mean a sprinkling. So this is going to be really hard to see, but and just fill this up, yeah. So that is now full to the brim. Yeah, it's actually, that's over firm, but, and then literally a sprinkling of vermiculite on top of the seed, and then a sprinkling of water to damp that down so that it stays put. And that's all I've done for my chili seeds this year. As I say, I've had much better germination rates. The other thing, especially because I noticed you asked specifically regarding chilies, the other thing that is a major effect on chili germination is temperature. Once again, especially your super hots, they need a temperature of around about 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. So that's actually quite high. They won't germinate pretty much in anything below that. You can sometimes get away with about 18 degrees for your, like say, jalapenos, your cayennes, and your non-super hot, sort of your medium heat chilies. But your super hots need that extra heat. I'll see you later, Mike. So you need a heat mat, or you need a warm place. Once they're germinated, they don't need to remain on that heat source. I use a seed germination mat. Once they're germinated, take them off, but until they're up, they need that heat source. Vermiculite, I get mine, it's usually about the same price everywhere. I did try the one from the pound shop. I get this one. I get the Gros-Shaw vermiculite. No, I didn't try the pound shop. I tried Wilco's last year, and the granule was really large on it. So I use that Gros-Shaw one, which I get from the range. But my local garden centre sells it, and you can get it online at Amazon, but it tends to be a bit overpriced. Sam, yes, the windowsill will germinate, especially if it's a windowsill above a radiator, and get yourself a lidded propagator. That will help immensely, or should help immensely. But with a lidded propagator, make sure if it's not a vented one, because as soon as the seeds are up, once you've got about 60 to 80% of the seeds are up, you need to open that vent or take the lid off the propagator, because the first ones up will start to suffer if you leave that lid on. It's around about, it's expensive, is vermiculite. I think it's about £8 for the one that I get. But it is worth it, and you don't use a lot. And as you can see, I mean, these scraps of compost now have vermiculite in, which is great. You don't need to put a lot of it in. You'll see in the YouTubers that they're doing sort of 10 to 2 ratios. So 10, I've got one here somewhere. Let's say you were using this as your scoop, you know, they'd use 10 scoops of compost and 2 full scoops of vermiculite. It's not going to harm your plants, but you're throwing money away. You don't need that much. At most, a 10 to 1 ratio is what you need. Oh, actually, also, Sam, whilst I'm on the topic of germinating chili seeds, the other thing I've found I've had a lot better germination success with, and I don't have the bag here. Last year I used multi-purpose to sow all my seeds in. I used Jack's Magic. It was fine, it worked, but I found this year I have used a seed and cutting compost, once again from Growshaw, just because it's the one my local garden centre sells. And I'm finding that a lot better. And the one primary difference between multi-purpose and seed and cutting compost is more finely sieved, but the main difference is it doesn't have peat in it. Peat can be too rich for some seeds and can cause things like rotting off because it retains too much moisture. I'm trying to think of other little hints and tips when it comes to planting chili seeds. Water them in once, put your propagator lid on, don't water them again until they're up. They don't like to be too wet. I'm surprised as many of these have survived as they are with how wet the compost is. They don't like to be too wet. Water once and then don't water again until they're up. Be patient. The hotter the chili, the longer the germination rate. So your super hots can be 4 to 8 weeks. Your jalapenos can be 2 to 4 weeks. The hotter the chili, the longer the germination rate. So be patient with them. If you get some seeds that you're not sure of, get a Tupperware box, line it with some wet paper towel, sprinkle the seeds on, fold the towel over so they're dark, and put them somewhere dark and keep checking them daily for any signs of activity. Once they're starting to sprout, plant the ones that are sprouted, put the lid back on, put them back somewhere dark. If they've not sprouted that way after about 2 weeks, if you're not seeing starts of signs of life, they're not going to sprout. Don't worry about it, we all have to learn somewhere. Dave, once again, no. The heat from the pigeon manure may well kill allium leaf miner, but allium leaf miner has only been recorded in this country for the last 6 years. But it won't kill white rot. There is a technique to get rid of white rot, but it does involve crop rotation. What you do is, if you've got a bed that's suffering with white rot, you don't plant your onions in there, but the fungus that causes white rot can survive for, I think it's about 5 years without onions to feed on. So actually what you do is you go get yourself online and you get yourself a big bag of catering onion powder, or I believe garlic powder works as well. You sprinkle it quite liberally on the bed, and what that does is the fungus goes, oh, onions, comes to life, but then it's got nothing to feed on. So you do that once, leave it 2 weeks, do it again, and then leave that. You can plant other things in that bed provided they're okay with onions, but don't put onions in that bed, and that apparently will clear up any white rot problems you may or may not have. Especially if you've got a full bed infested with it, because like I said, the fungus can live under the soil because it's a fungus, it's actually quite happy in warm soil. You'd have to sterilise it by means of getting it above 100 degrees C to kill it. And once again, oh, I've just pulled my groin. White rot has only been recorded, was only recorded in this country, I want to say 4 years ago, but I think it might be at least double that. It might be about 8 years ago. Did I knock the camera? Looks like I did. Sam, as I've said to everybody else, find the Facebook page, Conversation Shed. Always feel free to message me if you need anything. Always feel free to message me. I will always answer questions. Maybe not straight away, but I will always answer questions. What I can do, because I will be doing another sowing of chilies, is I'm more than happy to do Wednesday after next. I'm more than happy to do a seed sowing on chilies if you want. I can cover as much as I can with regards to sowing chilies, and any little hints and tips I can think of. Yeah, I can do that if that would help. I'll do a dedicated video for seed sowing chilies, and anything that you do with chilies, because chilies and tomatoes are related, applies across the two. Right, this tray, wow, we've got a multitude of problems in this tray. We've got damping off, we've got what looks like maybe the remnants of a fungal disease, which has had all of my habaneros. Not happy about that. Hopefully I'll get some from the second sowing. What other social medias do you use, Sam? Have you got me on Instagram? Convo Shed, one word on Instagram. Drop me a message on there, and I can DM you anything you want to know. I'm on Twitter as well as Conversation SH1 on Twitter. You can get me. I'm on most social medias as Conversation Shed. But here, what we have, this is the last tray, is some good examples of leggy chilies, and we may also have a lot of damping off on this, but I'm going to plant them up and we'll see what happens. But what we're going to do is, as I was discussing earlier, I don't think you weren't here, Sam, is I'm going to plant them as deep as all the way up there. So all that, as much of that as possible, is going to be buried. Find me on Instagram, Sam. Find me on Instagram. So we'll start with this. No, we won't. I'll take that one habanero first, because that's going to be the same. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to find me on Instagram. All my logos and everything are the same. So if you used to see my logo, or if you've noticed my logo, it's all the same. I like to create a brand like Coca-Cola, apart from not as big. So what we're going to do, I've just lost some of the roots, is we're going to go right to the bottom of this pot. So really, really deep. I know you can't really see anything. And then we're going to push this all the way down. When you're potting on your chilies, they do need to be potted on quite firm. They don't like to be potted on. They are going to sag, they are going to wilt, and they are going to look peed off at you for the next 2 to 3 days. Get them in some light, get them in some warmth. Don't give them a load of water like you would with anything else. If you use one, but don't be giving them a load of water. But you see now how deep that is planted. As I said earlier, the chilies are related to tomatoes, so they will send out new roots from the main stem up to the level of the seed leaves. It's a handy tip to know, is that one. So we're going to go with these hot lemons, these really leggy hot lemons next. Sam, stay safe, mate. It's dark out. I hope you've got lights and reflective gear. Stay safe. And if you're not too far to get home, I might still be here potting on chilies when you get home. Once again, this one's quite leggy, so I'm going to put it in quite deep. Apart from this one's got a lot more compost with it. Packing it down quite hard. You should be able to see what I'm doing. For the damping off, use 2 chamomile tea bags and 1 teaspoon of washing up liquid to 1 litre of water boiled. Make a tea when cold. Washing up liquid in. What do you do with that then, Deadly? Just water, do you spritz it on with a spray bottle, or does that go in instead of watering? Marianne, I have not. I talk about this in Sunday's vlog. It is a long video. I have not. I'm one of the few YouTubers that appears to not. I actually won't start my tomatoes off until March, April, as late as May time. I will try that, Deadly, thank you. Because tomatoes grow quite vigorously, as we all know. And I simply don't have... If I was to plant some tomatoes now and put them in my grow light, put them under my grow lights, or in a windowsill... See, a windowsill, there's not enough hours of daylight. So if I was to put them under my grow lights, and then they'd be 3-4 foot high before it was time to plant them out. Before my last frost had passed. So for me, and you know, it is objective. For me, it's far too early. Mate, I wish they'd enforce that fine round here. The amount of cyclists I nearly knock over on a daily basis because they've no lights, no reflective gear, and they're wearing all black on poorly lit roads. I'm not aiming for them, but oh, dog walkers are the same round here as well. Not visible when they're crossing roads. All I will say, Mary, is if you have started tomatoes off now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Get them on they need to be on a south-facing windowsill. Otherwise, they're just not going to get enough light, anywhere near enough light. Yeah, get them on a south-facing windowsill and rotate them. So that as the plant starts leaning towards the sun, rotate the tray or pot round so that the plant sort of stretches equally. And then, as I'm doing with these chilies, when it comes time to pop them up, literally pop them up. That one is not going to survive, or is it? No, that's damped off. I'm not wasting the compost on that one. I'm glad I've spotted this, because it would have been a problem with my second sowing. But most of these have damped off. That one's going to be alright, and that one's going to be alright. So 2 more, and that's my chilies all potted on, and then I'll show you. One thing I did forget to mention to Sam, if I'm assuming you know Sam Deadly, is tell him to always overplant when it comes to chilies, because they germination rates, especially on super hots, is not great. Mary, there are things you can sow now. Check out Sunday. I think, have you subscribed to the YouTube channel? I put a video up on Sunday about things that you're quite safe to sow now, mainly brassicas, but onion seeds, shallot seeds, they're all fine to go in now. I actually opened this video, I started this live stream sowing some Brussels sprouts, broccoli and cauliflower. Things like that you can put in now, and it will be quite happy. But unfortunately, this time of year, there ain't much else. The best thing you can do is get your potatoes out and chitting. That's pretty much all you can do at the moment that you can't go wrong with. Which one does I was going to go with? That one. Have a closer look. Don't know. I'll plant you. For the sake of a scoop of compost, I'll plant you. Oh, hi Sam. What do you mean? You see, your chili seeds deadly. What do you do? Like you do them hydroponically though, don't you? It's an entirely different process. And by all means, no offence taken. There are so many different techniques. This is just one. This is the one that works for me. It's like back in school, there's no wrong answer. Jiffy plugs, I'm going to try Jiffy plugs next year. I wanted to try them this year, but it was purely a money thing. I wanted to try them this year. I was actually talking with a company called Qua Products UK. They make a type of Jiffy plug. I think Jiffy plug is a brand name, but they make a type of Jiffy plug. I was in talks with them for sponsorship, but something went wrong on their end. I don't know what. No problem, Mary. I'm more than happy also to be shared to be shared around. Right, I'm going to scrap the rest of them. Do you find with the Jiffy plugs deadly? Do you find that you get a better germination rate, or because with my super hots I get around about 75 to 80%. With my normal sort of jalapeno level, padron, things like that, I tend to get around about 100%, but I get a fair bit of rotting off. Do you find that with Jiffy plugs? Yes, like a box, yeah. Yes, share me like a box of chocolates. Although, to be honest, Mary, I don't know many women that do share a box of chocolates. Putting wheat tea for... Oh, that to stratify the seeds. Yeah, that was also something I was going to try this year, but didn't. But I might try it for the second sowing. Actually, I might try it for the second sowing. I just couldn't afford it. £10 for a bag. I just couldn't afford it. You know, everything I do is on a budget, and the seeds at the end of, I mean, especially for the super hots, because when your bags of super hot seeds sort of retail at sort of £5-10 for 4 or 5 seeds, then yes, I certainly would have invested in them. I do have matting under them. But a lot of these seeds were either saved or sent to me free of charge. So I've been a little bit fast and loose with them. And it may have cost me to some extent, but it is, you know, there's nothing I can do about it now. Right, I wasn't going to, but I've got plenty of, actually no, I'm not. I was going to plot up some of these jalapenos up, but I'm not going to bother. Yes, some of them will survive, but in all fairness, I don't like the looks of the plant. They're safe seed from a plant, from a Marshall's sort of ready to go plug plant, and I'm not liking the looks of these leaves. They don't look like true jalapenos, even though I isolated the chili to make sure I got true to form seeds. I think it might have been an early hybrid seed that in the first place that the jalapeno was grown from. So I'm going to scrap these. I'm going to get some new seed for some jalapenos, because I'm going to do pepperoncini, morciglia picante, and some jalapenos, and they'll be going in 2 weeks. So Mary, if you're going to do chilies, 2 weeks I'm going to be doing them. For the people at home that only have things like windowsills and windowsill propagators, we'll be doing them then for you guys, and I'll bring home one of the windowsill propagators and we'll grow together. How does that sound? But guys, I think there's one other thing that I want to talk about, if Mary or Deadly or anybody is interested in it. I went to my local garden centre today, and the manager collared me. I'm thinking, crap, what, you know, case of mistaken identity. I don't do anything wrong, I'm a good boy. He collared me and said to me, she said, your conversation shed, aren't you? I was like, yeah. Because I've not introduced myself down there at all, really. And I'm thinking, crap, is he going to complain? Because I tagged him in some, peppers be done at the same time. I tagged the garden centre when I went to go get some sweet potatoes, because, and for no bad reason, the quality was brilliant and still is brilliant. But yeah, he collared me. Oh, you conversation shed? Yes, I'm conversation shed. He says, oh, thanks for mentioning us on Instagram. And we've since looked at your stuff on YouTube. I says, oh, not a problem. I says, you know, credit where it's due. You guys put a lot of work into source good materials. Always shop local when you can. So very kindly, I've got no idea where I'm going to put them because I was doing all my onions from seeds. But very kindly, he gave me a bag full of Stuttgarter onion sets, and I mean there's a bag full here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these in modules, but I'm going to call it a day on the live stream. And another bag of Desiree seed potatoes. Give me another bag of seed potatoes, so I need to get these out with the others to chit. In fact, there's a little bit of wireworm damage on this one. I might, I'll cut that out. Yeah, it was really nice of him. Really, really nice of him. So I don't do anything on YouTube for any sort of gain. It is about sharing my journey and anything I learn along the way. Mary, are you familiar with chitting? How many have I potted on? I'll show you quickly, because I'm done with this now. Give me a sec, baby, and I'll bring the potting on tray up. 1 second. You've not been a distraction, guys. You've been really good company. Thank you. Oh, nearly took the phone out. Oh. So, along with the tray of seeds we did to start, 4, 8, so 16, 18 we've got potted up, guys. So I'm happy with that, actually. There was a lot of seeds planted. There was 24, there was 48 seeds planted, but I did know in the back of my mind, a lot of them they all went in really early. They all went in at 4th of December, which even for somebody with lights and a heat mat, that is early. So I'm actually quite happy with these results. I've got my second sowing in that went in on I think it was about the 28th of December. They've germinated a lot better. They're a lot happier. I will be putting those on, and I'll probably do that on a live stream again. But we will be following on live stream and in videos these guys here. You know, they're all tagged with the date, so you'll be able to see those. You know, you'll be able to say, oh, they're the ones that I saw potted on. These have all been growing. Where are we now? Back end of January. Geez, these have been growing nearly 2 months, guys. And I mean, this is what I say about some of the soup pots. I mean, this is a really good example. But that's 2 months growth. That's, you know, that's how slow these things are, these super hot chilies. They need a long, long season. They are fussy buggers, you're right. So yeah, I'm very happy with this. Right, chitting potatoes, I'm not going to go into it in too much depth. Sam, Mary, I would love for you to check out a video on my channel that my 2 daughters did with regards to chitting potatoes. But just very quickly, this is a Desiree potato. It's a seed potato. I don't recommend, and this is me personally, I don't recommend growing seeds from supermarket potatoes. The farmers there, they don't have the disease control and things like that, that's gone into these specific seed potatoes. These are grown specifically for seed. They're grown in better environments, and they're treated for diseases and to help stop the spread of diseases. But basically, when it comes to chitting a potato, you've got, I'll tell you what I taught the girls. You've got the butt end, and then what you'll be able to see there, I'm hoping you can see it anyway, is, where is it? Right there. Where it was connected to the plant that it grew on. On the opposite end, so straight 180 from there, is the sprouts, or the chits, or the eyes. And chitting potatoes, it couldn't be simpler. I'll use one of these. I wouldn't use these, I'd use an egg box, but I don't have one to hand. All you do is stick them arse down, eyes up, in an egg box, put them somewhere. This is the important part. Sam, don't worry about it, the girls talk about it in a video. Go back over my videos, it's only a couple of weeks. The important part is that these go somewhere cool but well lit. Don't put them somewhere warm. You will. Yeah, don't put them somewhere warm. The chits will grow too quickly and not dark. They need light, but it needs to be cool. I have them out in my greenhouse. But these guys will be quite happy in a cold frame, in a shed by a window, or in a greenhouse. If you know you've a hard frost coming and frost tends to get in your greenhouse, throw some newspaper over them, or a bit of horticultural fleece, and just take it off in the morning once the frost has passed. And what you're looking for is little green or purple, depending on the variety. Little furry shoots will start coming off. Don't worry if your potato goes wrinkly. All you need to worry about is if the potato goes mouldy, you need to get it out and get rid of it if it goes mouldy. But if it goes wrinkly, don't worry about it. It's the potatoes doing its job. The potato is an energy store, and it's putting its energy into growing new plants. So that is chitting potatoes in 2 minutes. So please check out the girls' videos. They were so proud of it when they made it, and I'm so proud of them for wanting to be involved. It's simply I think it's simply called Chitting Potatoes with Charlotte and Rosa. Please check it out, guys. I'm so proud of them. For a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old to do that, I was blown away. I was genuinely blown away, and it was proper. Well, you can probably tell, beaming happy dad moment. Yeah. Does anybody want me to? Yeah, all right, Scott. Does anybody want me to quickly put some potatoes in cells, or are we all happy that that we can do that? Not bad, Scott. How are you? We're just winding down, to be honest. We've been at this for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Wow, guys, you really have kept me company. Thank you. I've got a lot of cleaning up to do. Rhubarb, Scott. What do you want to know about rhubarb? I'll set up my station. I'll plant some onions. I've just dropped something on the floor. That's going to be a pain. Give me a sec. I'll just get me my seed tray, me potting tray back, and we'll talk about things for a bit longer. Fire any questions at me, guys, that you've got. Ooh, from seed. That is the most difficult way to grow rhubarb. Scott, Sam, stay safe. Right, give me 1 sec. Where's my scoop? I'm going to need compost. Oh. Right. Rhubarb from seed is as easy as any other seed. However, that is the long way round to grow your rhubarb. That really is. What you want to do, you want an allotment, Scott? Or are you just wanting to grow some in your back garden? Answer that for me. Right, rhubarb, well, for starters, rhubarb's not going to be very happy in a bucket. It grows very deep, it has a very deep taproot. Ideally it needs to be in the ground. It really does. There's no way of sugarcoating that, it needs to be in the ground. But if you were to grow it in a bucket, I would say, if containers is your only option, try and get your hands on a 50 litre, you know, the big blue right, okay, Scott, go to your local garden centre or even go online. Don't grow rhubarb from seed. Is there a particular reason? Is there a particular reason you want to grow it from a seed? Because it really is the long way around. For seed, you're going to be 2 to 3 years before you get a crop. If you get a crown, it's going to be a year till you get a crop. Right, onions. While I wait for Scott to come back to me. I don't have a pair of scissors, but this is an onion set. All it is a baby onion. Now, you can see on this one, it's got quite a long, what was the green growing stem. Take it off. Personal preference, not everybody does, but I take it off. Normally I'd snip it off, but I'm lazy. Then you've got what's called the basal plate, or the bottom of it, and they're your roots. And when you plant it, now this is the easiest way to grow an onion. Shove it in, literally just push it in, it'll be quite happy, so that it's about halfway buried. What you may find is as this grows on, it'll just raise itself up a little bit. Now if it's indoors in a cell like this, that's not a major problem. What you can do is earth it up a little bit. And I mean, you can bury them, as I will do with this one, that much. And that is as simple as planting an onion set. The biggest problem you've got with onion sets is the quality of them. Don't peel them, just remove any loose paper. Make sure you put them in the right way up. Aside from that, push it in. Job's a good one. And this is actually a good one for you, Mary, because I know you're saying you need to scratch that grower's itch. Because these will sprout and they'll send up green shoots. And it'll give you that feeling of something growing. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these while I try and talk Scott out of growing rhubarb from seed. If you want to grow it from seed, by all means. Any hints and tips? I don't have for rhubarb, to be honest, because I would do it from a crown. But the seeds aren't massive. By some standards, I suppose it depends on what you're used to growing. Standard rule of thumb applies to rhubarb seeds as far as I'm aware. I have seen people do it, so I am racking my brains here a little bit. You want to go twice the depth of the length of the seed. But aside from that, start in at least in a pot this size. This is a 4-inch pot. Start in a pot at least that size, because like I said, it will send down a very long taproot very quickly. You're going to find yourself potting on a lot with rhubarb. And as for sowing time, time of year would I estimate? I'd say sort of February, March time is going to be sowing time for rhubarb. I grew up in Wakefield, which is the pinnacle of the rhubarb triangle. But as I say, I do understand you wanting to be having the satisfaction of saying, you know, I grew that from seed. But honestly, going to a neighbour, if you know a neighbour that's got rhubarb, or finding it wild, digging it up, split the crown, so you put the crown, half the crown back where you got it from, or half the root ball if you don't know what a crown is. Split the crown, put half of it back where you got it from. I'm not surprised. So put half of it back where you got it from, and half of it, take half of it, and plant it quite deep, about a foot deep. And you should find that the first year you will get rhubarb. Don't pick it. Let it go back. And let it nourish itself for a year, and then second year pick away. Never take more than about 75%. Always leave a little bit to give some energy back to the root rhizomes. Onions, these will stay in these trays until I'm ready to plant them out, which is going to be at least a month. I'm going to let them get started inside on a windowsill, if I've got enough windowsill space, and then I'm going to put them outside in the greenhouse. The tops will always stay present, and as the plants are growing, you will find that the onion will work its way out of the surface of the soil. That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about pushing it back in. It's perfectly natural. It's just the ebb and flow of the soil, and the onion will raise itself up a little bit as well. But these trays, they'll be quite happy in these trays for a month or two. Once they've started, I'll put them outside in the greenhouse. That will slow them down growing just a little bit, long enough for me to be ready to find somewhere to put them, because, as I said, I wasn't planning on growing onions from sets, but as I've been given them, I'm going to grow them, and we'll see how they go. So once again, you guys will be able to follow along with these, because these will be the only onion sets that I'm doing. Courgettes from seed, Scott, mate, they are bulletproof. Courgettes are wild. The only thing I will say about courgettes is don't plant too many of them, because one plant will give you a lot of courgettes. It's a long, narrow, flat seed. The biggest hint I can give you is plant it sideways, so that essentially the water can't sit on top of the seed. Plant it sideways, or with a rounded butt bit straight down into the soil. So essentially stab it into the soil. Yeah, never push them back down, Mary. Let them come up, let them fatten. And sorry, just to come off courgettes and back on onions for a sec. Please remember to, hang on, somebody's at the door, probably telling me I'm talking too loud. Keys.
Next door neighbour, I want to know what's going on with your windows and stuff like that.
No, we just got replaced.
Yeah, I know, but you hadn't put food in last night.
No.
So what happened?
Nothing. But the patio door, the French doors at the back have been replaced because they were knackered from previous tenant.
So you hadn't put food in?
No.
Because my missus is a bit worried, like.
No, not at all.
Right.
No.
No?
No. Hands are dirty. I'm planting seeds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, we've had no bother.
Oh, right.
We don't have any bother with anybody. Keep his heads down.
No. Alright.
Hang on guys, I'm back. Just letting Sasha out. Oh, right, sorry guys. Right, where was I? I did the onions question, didn't I? Courgettes, yeah. Sideways on, plant them twice the depth of the seed. Don't plant hundreds because you'll get about 20 courgettes from one plant. What else can I tell you about courgettes? That's about it really. It's a really, they're a really easy, non-finicky seed really. There isn't a particular way up to plant them other than, like I said, just plant them lengthways, sort of as a, if you imagine a blade going into the soil. Don't plant them too early. They don't want to go in until April, May time at the earliest. And yeah, that's about it really. Just plant them sideways so that the water doesn't pool on the top of them, and that would be the same for courgettes, marrows, pumpkins, and melons. Any sort of long flat seed, plant them sideways. Oh, onions. Yeah. Also, they may not have swelled because people always say onions are a simple thing to grow. They are very, 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 very hungry plant. So they do need feeding. I feed mine at least twice once they're outside with a pelletized chicken manure called 6X. It's very strong stuff. So make sure they're in a well prepared, well fed bed that's rich in nitrogen, and you should be gravy. You should be gravy, but they are hungry plant. They are hungry little fellas. They do need feeding. Say I use 6X on the soil, and I occasionally will feed them with a liquid seaweed fertilizer. Scott, you're firing some curveballs at me today. Melons and squashes. Time of year. Depends on the squash. I'll come back to squashes. Melons, some you can sow now. Watermelons, you can get seeds that will grow in this country. I would say don't waste your time. At best, you'll end up with a tennis ball sized watermelon, which it will taste lovely, but you get nothing out of it. There are some Gala varieties you can grow in this country, and I've had mixed success with them, and I'm going to try and get some again this year. But now, if you've got the space on your windowsill, if you haven't got the space on your windowsill, where are we? January, February, late February, early March is when I will be looking to put my melon seeds in. The reason I say squashes is a difficult question. It's only difficult in the respect of it depends to what squash you're referring. Courgettes, patty pan, and your summer squashes can be sown in the next month or two. Once again, depending on your available space for your seeds. Don't worry about putting them in as late as, where are we, May, April? Probably April, June time. Don't worry about them going in as late as that. They will catch up and you will still get fruit off them. I'll put those in a bit deep, they'll be fine. They will still fruit and they'll still be happy, so don't worry about putting them in late. I would rather put them in late than You've lost me there, Marianne. Oh, I've got no trays to put this in. I'm going to have to use the table, it's dirty anyway. yes, squash. So courgettes, patty pan, can be done as early as April, May. I would hold off until May, June. They will catch up. Your winter squash, so the likes of bloody words are failing me. Your winter squash, so the likes of pumpkins. There you go, you see. Want to go in August, September time. I sow both patty pan, so what's known as a summer squash, and I sow pumpkins, which are purely for jack-o'-lanterns. So I will be doing videos on those when it's time to put them in, so don't worry about that. You're not too far from me, Mary, so basically if I'm putting something in, it's about time for our area in the country. Hopefully that answers those two questions. If there's something in particular that I haven't said, or some area you feel that you want to know more on, let me know, because I'm knackered. Once I've got some of these onions in, I'm off to bed. So those I'm actually going to leave like that, Marianne. So you've seen me do some deep, some not deep. You'll be able to follow along with their progress and see what works and what doesn't. As I said, these for me, they're a freebie, so I'm going to experiment with them. This is actually the first time I've done them in trays. Normally I do over winter onions and don't bother with spring planting onions. This will be the first time I'm doing it. Which is why I'm putting them in modules, because it's actually a little early to be buying them. This time, potatoes. Yeah, they will all grow very happily in buckets, Scott. Especially your chilies, your blueberries I've converted over to buckets this year. Potatoes, I'm a bucket convert on potatoes, providing I can afford the compost. I'm a firm believer in that, especially having problems with my back. What nematodes would I use for combating slugs? If I was to use nematodes, which is not something I have done, once again, actually purely a money thing, I would use Nemesis, the brand name Nemesis. It seems to be the most widely recommended. Lovely to meet you, Mary, if you're heading off. Lovely to meet you. Thank you for keeping me company tonight. I've enjoyed every minute of this live stream. It hasn't felt like I've been online for coming up 3 hours. I remember I do put out videos twice a week. Remember we do other subjects as well. Mally does scale model videos, so if you start seeing them come up on your YouTube feed, don't be confused. It's just, we're a hobby channel. We're not purely an allotment channel. We are a community, so. Are these? No, they're not college gloves, Josh. They don't fit me. They're Mrs. Nixon from work. Mrs. is a nurse. Yeah, sorry, Scott. Yeah, just Nemesis. If you look on most, the likes of Marshalls and things like that, I would use Nemesis, and they do a specific one for slug control. But me personally, a bit of a controversial one, but I tend to just use the old blue pellets while ever they are still purchasable. Once they are not purchasable, I'll look at alternatives. I'll probably go down the route of beer traps. But one of the benefits of being in raised beds is beer traps are very, very easy to use in raised beds. For slug control in pots and buckets, the way that you grow, I would look at running copper tape around the bucket or the pot, or around the base of the platform on which you stand your buckets and pots. That is what I would look at doing. You will, if you're growing in pots, Scott, you will suffer more heavily with slugs, because of course the underneath of the pot is a perfect living space. If possible, wood chip the area where your pots are, or gravel the area where your pots are. Have them sat on gravel rather than, especially if they've sat on soil, you will have a massive slug problem. But for some of the 30-litre pots that I grew my chilies in last year, I did put some copper tape round them. It was only cheap stuff, so it didn't really last the year. But I did see a marked improvement in a reduction of slug numbers on the surface of the pots by putting some copper tape around them. The thing I have with my raised beds are enclosed, so the dog can't get on them. The other thing with nematodes is they have to be reapplied. So, you know, you buy one bag, you can't stockpile, you can't keep them in the fridge. They don't keep. So you have to buy them and use them, and you have to use them as you're buying them. So they're not ideal for me. It's an expensive option. You can, if you Google, there was an article in either The Guardian or The Times a year or two ago about how to create your own nematodes. They're a parasite that exists naturally on slugs, and it involves a fermentation of, you know, piles of slugs in water, and that will encourage the nematodes to replicate in the water, and then you use that water essentially as a nematode tea. I'll try and find the article, but if you Google it, it is out there on how to make your own nematodes or anti-slug nematodes. It is out there. I have read it. It didn't dream it. It was in a newspaper. So look that up. Look that up. It might be worth a try. I remember it basically just said, get a big bucket, collect as many slugs up as you can, and throw them in the bucket of water, and leave it there. It'll get stinky, it'll get horrible, it'll get scummy, slimy, but you'll have nematodes for free. There were timescales involved, that's why I'm saying try and find the article if you can. Guys, have you got anything else for me? Because I'll nip out to the car. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to go get some more of these trays for these onion sets. 1 sec. Oh, shut that door. Oh, shut that door. Oh, did he? I have not seen that. I shall have to message Tony and ask him for a link, because I haven't seen that. But if he makes his own, then why doesn't he use nematodes? I think last year he used wool pellets. You know, you'd have thought if you know how to make something for now, you'd make them, wouldn't you? But I would. I'm tight. Is it just me and you left now, Scott? Has everybody else gone to bed? It's going all right, Josh. I've had lovely people to talk to while I've been doing my gardening jobs. So it's been all right. And I've been drinking rum, so I'm quite happy. Rum. In a YouTube-friendly container. Moisten this compost down a little bit. That it is. You decided you're not going to bed yet, have you, Doug? It's already sprouted, look. Well, there's 5 of us in here, but you're all very quiet. I think Mike's still in the stream, but he's had to go. Obviously Josh, I think Scott is still here. I'll see you Tuesday, Josh. Don't like doing that, but I ain't got the space. What carrots that looks like. I'll show you. I'm doing I'm not going to show you because they're buried in here somewhere and I made a right mess of my seed container earlier. Let's see if they're in this one. Very quickly. Come on, you should be one of the few unopened packets. On this side. Yeah. Seed labels out everywhere. That's done with. That could be put away for now. Stay. There they are. Yeah, these ones purely and simply, I think they were advertised me as a new variety, so I got them cheap. So they're what I will be growing as sort of a main. They're what I purchased. And that's Charisma. That's F1. I'll talk about F1 seeds in a minute. And I will also be planting, because they came free with my free seed tin from Sutton's, those ones. baby type called Ideal. We'll find out if they are ideal. Right, seed type. F1. Now, I'm not going to go into purely and simply because I'm not that knowledgeable. But F1 usually means it's the first stable genome of a hybrid. It takes about 7 iterations before a new hybrid becomes stable enough to be able to sell the seeds. And what it is, it's a hybrid. So you'll have cross-pollination of 2 types of carrot, and they'll have been selected for particular traits, so be it size or resistance. If we use carrots, for example, size or resistant to carrot fly, like the brand called Resistor Fly. And it's a natural resistance that's been selectively bred for that vegetable. And the thing with an F1 seed is, or the difference between an F1 seed and a heritage or normal variety seed. Now, I wouldn't do it with a normal variety seed unless it specifically says it's heritage. Is an F1 seed, if you were to grow an F1 melon or an F1 chilli or an F1 tomato, the seeds that you will get off that plant will not necessarily produce the same plant as the one that you got them from. Because you've got 2 genuses spliced together, you could end up with a plant that favours either essentially the mother or the father plant. And that's what an F1 seed is. Normally, one of the standard things that are bred into F1 seeds, if there's no disease resistance, is just a good germination rate. That's why they tend to be less in the packet, because you don't need as many, and they tend to be slightly more expensive because a bit more work's gone into them. But that's in a nutshell. That's what F1 seeds are. They're a hybrid seed, and generally speaking, you cannot save the seed from an F1. No, short answer. I've got a couple of friendly competitions going on, but no, I'm not a competition grower. I'm not experienced enough. I may well enter some next year, depending on how the success of my Showmaster Giant Onions are this year, but I'm not equipped, I'm not knowledgeable enough, and I'm not, I don't want to say that one really, but I'm growing food to eat, not to show. So I'm not doing any competitions this year. If my Showmaster Onions do well, and if I enjoy it, I might grow for some local shows next year, but I don't think you'll ever find me at shows such as Malvern in any capacity other than a visitor. I don't think I'll ever grow to that capacity. When you say they didn't grow well, what happened? There are many things. And were they spicy peppers or sweet peppers? Were they chili peppers or sweet peppers? Because peppers are finicky plants. Dave, thank you, mate. I'm assuming that's you heading off. I thank you for your company. I greatly appreciate it. Were they chilies or sweet peppers? If they grew small. Were the plants small or the peppers themselves small? Okay, so it was a sweet pepper. Was the plant tiny, or was the words have gone? Was it are you referring to the plant being small or the chili or the peppers being small? I'm running out of space for these trays now. It gave me a lot of onions. What size pot were they in? That would be the first thing I would look at. The second thing I would look at is what did you grow them in? What was the growing medium? Peppers, like tomatoes, are pretty hungry plants. They need a good compost and a good feed. I use a seaweed fertiliser. I don't use Tomerite, purely and simply because I was once told by my mum that she could taste the Tomerite in my granddad's tomatoes, and that tainted me against Tomerite. Grew to the size of a Scotch bonnet, a sweet pepper. It's the size of a Scotch bonnet. What was the variety? Can you remember? Because there are mini eating peppers that are designed to stay small. Generally, the types of the peppers, the sweet peppers that do well in this country are California Wonder, and there's an orange one, I can't remember what it's called. Right, 10-inch pot. 10-inch pot for a bell pepper, if assuming they were bell peppers, is too small. A chili will grow quite happily in a 10-inch pot and produce a lot of fruit. A bell pepper needs more than that. It needs, I haven't written that down, a bell pepper needs really a 22-inch pot. I think that may well have been your issue. Did you feed them with a supplementary liquid feed once you planted them? After about 6 weeks, compost has got no. Sorry, these were supposed to be big. Right, okay, yeah. After about 6 weeks, compost hasn't got many nutrients left in it. So things like peppers, chilies, tomatoes, things like that need a liquid feed. And occasionally, depending on how long they've been in for, it's generally a good idea to give them a top dressing of something like fish blood and bone, which will steadily release over 6 to 12 weeks. But yeah, your bell peppers need a bigger pot than a 10-inch pot. Otherwise you will end up with a small plant. And also, once you start to see the peppers appear, so once the flower head has dropped off and you can see the little pepper, it's a bit soft. They need quite a hefty amount of water. And personal preference here, but don't use tap. I don't use tap where I can help it. I'm really running out of space for these onion sets. But yeah, that would be what I would think was going on with your peppers. I would think that the pot was too small, and at a guess, they needed a bit more feed. I use what's the feed called? I use Doff liquid seaweed fertiliser. Good. Can't applaud you enough for that. If you run out of rainwater, let tap water stand for 24 hours. A 10-gallon drum. Oh, right, yeah. Go on, Dave. What's up? What? That's fine. You know, as long as you've got rainwater, that's fine. That's it. It's a personal thing, but I find, at least where I live, much better results from rainwater, no matter how it's collected. As long as it's not stagnant and smelly. Water it. West Wales. West Wales. Don't really venture out that way very often. Really should. Some nice parts of the country out there. Dear God, this bag's never ending. Note to self, a kilo of onion sets is a lot of onion sets. Especially when they're this small. Not sure about that one. Pepper's a bit squishy, but yeah, I might as well stick it in, hadn't I? I'm running out of space. Pembrokeshire way. I've never got that far over. I've been Landudno. And what's the place where everybody from Telford goes for a night out? The name completely escapes me. But that's on the north tip. That's as far into Wales as I've ever been. Beetroot, any suggestions? Yeah, for me, don't grow it. I don't like it. Mrs. loves it. Yeah, for beetroot, don't grow a variety called Cylindria. It's a pig to peel and cook, and oh, it's horrible. Grow a variety called Bolt Hardy, especially if you're not experienced with beetroot. Beetroot will quite happily grow in a trough or a pot. It doesn't need a lot of depth in soil. You can't really go wrong with beetroot. Plant it, thin it out, use the thinnings as a nice little salad leaf. It's quite nice actually, as beetroot tops. Compost to use, any good multi-purpose. Beetroot's really not that picky. It is hungry. It will need feeding as it comes to close to the point where you're going to get ready to eat it. If your bulbs aren't swelling, or if the beetroot aren't swelling, give them some feed, some liquid fertilizer. Once again, I use Doff seaweed for near enough everything. But yeah, a good multi-purpose, but don't go to the expense of Miracle Grow or anything like that. Your standard B&Q Verve, or your local garden centres, standard stuff. Oh, Scott, bless him, he's a young un, is Scott. Although I've got to be honest, Dave, in 1985 I was only 3. Sorry, don't mean to make you feel old, but well guys, Scott, Dave, whoever else is still here, because there's still others here. If you've anything else for me, you need to fire them at me now. Guys, we've been on this live stream for 3 hours. Davey, you've been here since the beginning. You absolute trooper. Any more questions, fire them at me now, because I'm going to have to call it a night. I am jiggered, and I'm up again to pick the missus up at 7. And I've got all this to put away before I can go to bed. So I've got at least an hour of tidying up. Scott, mate, you're always welcome. You're always more than welcome. I think you've got me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. Any questions, day or night, although I'm not going to answer them if I'm not available. But any questions, day or night, fire them at me. I'm happy to help. I'm always happy to help. So please don't hesitate, and no thanks necessary. I'm more than happy to share my experiences. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to think of some really good sources for container growing. Some guys that do more of it than I do that I've seen. It's more popular in the States, so if you've only got Twitter, I am on Twitter. I'm slowly getting into Twitter. I'm not a wordsmith really, but I am on Twitter. Check the other videos for links in the description. All my all my social profiles are there, but I am Conversation SH1 at Conversation SH1 on Twitter. You can add me on there. You can DM me anytime you want. I'll answer it as soon as I can. If you fire me a question I don't know the answer to, I'll try and find you an answer, and I'll try and, now I know where you are, I'll try and tailor my answers to your location, because where you are, you're going to be a little bit cooler than some areas of the country. When's your last frost date, Scott? Do you know? If that's not something you know, I recommend it's something you look up, especially as a container grower, because frost has a massive impact on containers, more so than it does the soil. That's really nice, that. Reminds me of a drink, but I can't think what it is. Tastes kind of like a Vimto float with vanilla ice cream. Anyway, guys, say what again, Deadly? My Twitter handle. So your last frost date is slightly earlier than mine, actually. So we're not a million miles apart. So stay subscribed and keep an eye on my videos, because I'll always say what I'm sowing when if I don't do it on live stream. Yeah, that's me, Deadly. No spaces, at Conversation SH1 on Twitter. Oh, Scott, you came in at the last towards the end of this stream, and you have really taxed me. I've got to be honest. You fired some curveballs at me tonight. That squash question, I wasn't ready for that. As you can see, I've got no aids. It's all what I can remember. I am a Google user. But hopefully, guys, please spread the channel. The quicker I get to 1,000, the quicker I get access to more tools on YouTube, and I can do proper live streams instead of this delayed stuff, which is a bit of a ball ache, because I end up sitting here waiting for replies. I'm going to get off now, guys. It's been a pleasure. You've been awesome. You've kept me company. Thank you. Let's do it again, hey. Let's next time there's something major going on, we'll organise another one. Help me grow Conversation Shed. Get word out there. When I pimp my videos, share my videos, please, on every possible social media platform. Anybody can hit me up at any time. So if I can help, don't hesitate. I will answer questions as quick as I can. Guys, it's been a pleasure and I've loved every minute of it tonight. You've made 3 hours worth of potting up and potting on. An absolute dream. Thank you. Good night.